Marcus lived in a small neighborhood by the sea. The sound of waves hitting the shore was like music to him. Every day, he could hear the soft whispers of the water outside his window. It made him feel calm and peaceful. For Marcus, the ocean was more than just a place. It was a friend, a place where he could be himself and forget about the worries of life. For many years, Marcus worked hard in a nearby town. He did small jobs to save money. He wanted something special, something that belonged only to him. After a long time, he finally bought a small boat. It was not a big or fancy boat, but it was perfect for him. The boat was white with blue stripes, and Marcus loved its simple beauty. When he looked at the boat, he felt proud and happy. It was his dream come true. On weekends, Marcus would take the boat out into the harbor. He loved feeling the cool breeze on his face and watching the birds fly over the water. Sometimes, he would just sit on the boat, listening to the quiet sounds of the sea. These moments gave him peace, and he looked forward to them all week. The neighborhood where Marcus lived had changed a lot over the years. More people had moved in, and the houses were bigger now. The streets were busier too. Along with these changes, a homeowners association, or HOA, had been created. The HOA was a group of people who made rules for the neighborhood. They wanted to keep everything neat and quiet. Some people liked the HOA because they thought it helped keep the neighborhood nice. Others found the rules too strict. Marcus was not very involved with the HOA. He was busy with work and his own life. He believed that as long as he followed the rules, everything would be fine. He made sure to keep his boat clean and always parked it where he was allowed. But sometimes, he felt the HOA was too focused on controlling everything, even small things that did not matter much. One summer day, Marcus planned a trip to visit his family. His mother lived in a small town far away, and he had not seen her in a long time. He was excited to spend time with her and catch up. Before he left, Marcus took extra care to lock his boat and make sure it was safe. He checked the ropes, covered the seats, and even left a note on the boat's dashboard with his phone number. "I'll be back soon," he thought as he walked away from the harbor. He hoped his boat would be just as he left it. While Marcus was away, something unexpected happened. The HOA decided to hold a party at the marina. It was a special event to celebrate the neighborhood's anniversary. The HOA leaders wanted to show how friendly and close the community was. They sent invitations to many residents, asking them to come and enjoy the evening. One of the HOA members, a woman named Linda, was in charge of organizing the party. Linda was nervous about making everything perfect. She wanted the party to be fun but also quiet enough to not disturb anyone. When she saw Marcus's boat tied up and empty, she thought it would be a great place for the party guests to relax. Without asking Marcus, Linda made a decision. She gave permission to a few neighbors to use the boat for the party. They put some chairs on the deck and played soft music. The boat became the center of attention. People laughed, talked, and took pictures. The boat, which was usually so quiet, was full of life. At first, the party seemed harmless. But as the evening went on, more people arrived. The music got louder, and some guests started drinking. The calm harbor turned into a noisy place. Some neighbors who did not come to the party were upset. They thought the noise was too much. Linda began to worry. She knew the HOA rules said no loud parties near the boats. But she did not want to stop the fun. She tried to keep the party under control, but it was not easy. The boat was moving a little because of the waves, and some guests were not careful. Linda hoped no one would get hurt or cause any trouble. Suddenly, A small boat with flashing lights appeared near the marina. It was the Coast Guard. They were patrolling the waters to make sure everyone was safe. When they saw the party on Marcus's boat, they stopped and asked questions. Linda froze. She did not know what to say. The Coast Guard officers looked serious. They asked who was responsible for the boat and the party. Linda could not give a clear answer. She had let people use the boat without permission, and now she was worried about the consequences. The guests became quiet. The happy mood of the party disappeared quickly. The Coast Guard reminded everyone about the safety rules and the importance of following the law on the water. After the officers left, the party slowly ended. The neighbors went back to their homes, feeling confused and worried. The boat was still tied to the dock, but it was no longer the peaceful place Marcus had left. Far away, Marcus was enjoying his visit with his mother. He had no idea what was happening back home. When his trip ended, he looked forward to returning to his boat and the calm harbor he loved so much. But Marcus's trip with his mother was everything he hoped for. They spent quiet days talking, eating home-cooked meals, and walking through the small town where she lived. It was a break from his busy life, a chance to feel connected to family and memories he often missed. Yet, even as he enjoyed this time, a part of his mind kept thinking about his boat. The boat was his pride. It was more than just wood and paint, it was a symbol of his hard work and dreams. He imagined himself back at the harbor, the sun shining on the water, the gentle rocking of the waves. But Marcus had no idea what had happened while he was away. When his trip ended, Marcus returned to his neighborhood feeling refreshed but ready to dive back into his routine. As he got closer to the marina, he noticed something was different. The usually quiet harbor seemed busier than normal. More cars were parked near the docks, and people talked in small groups by the water. Marcus smiled at some familiar faces, but he felt a little nervous. He quickly walked to his boat, eager to see it. When he reached the dock, his heart sank. The boat was still tied to the dock, but it did not look the same. There were faint marks on the deck, and a few chairs were left behind. A paper cup and some small trash were scattered near the boat. Marcus picked up the cup and frowned. This was not how he wanted to find his boat. Did something happen here? He wondered aloud. Marcus looked around for someone to ask. He spotted a neighbor, Mrs. Collins, an older woman who lived nearby and often walked her dog by the marina. "Mrs. Collins," Marcus said, "did you see what happened here last week?" Mrs. Collins looked at him with concern. "Oh, Marcus, I'm sorry you found your boat like this. The HOA had a party here while you were away. They used your boat without asking." Marcus's eyes widened. "Without asking? How could they do that?" "I don't know all the details," Mrs. Collins said, shaking her head. "But it caused a lot of noise, and the Coast Guard had to come by. It was quite the event." Marcus felt a heavy weight in his chest. His peaceful boat, the place where he found calm, had been turned into a party space without his permission. It felt like a violation not just of his property, but of the trust he had in his neighbors and the HOA. As he looked around, Marcus saw a few other neighbors talking quietly. Some looked uncomfortable, as if they were unsure what to say. It was clear the party had caused more trouble than anyone expected. Marcus decided to talk to the HOA. He wanted answers and to explain how important his boat was to him. Later that afternoon, Marcus went to the community center where the HOA meetings were held. The room was filled with a few neighbors and the HOA board members. Linda, the woman who had organized the party, was there too. "Thank you for coming, Marcus," the HOA president said kindly. "We want to hear your concerns." Marcus took a deep breath. "My boat was used for a party without my permission. I wasn't told anything about it. I trusted this community, but now I feel like that trust is broken." Linda looked down, her face showing regret. "I'm very sorry, Marcus. I thought it would be okay since you were away and the boat was not being used. I didn't mean to disrespect you." Marcus nodded slowly. "I understand mistakes happen. But this isn't just about the boat. It's about respect for people's property and for the rules." The HOA president agreed. "We take this matter seriously. We will review our policies and make sure this does not happen again." Even as the HOA promised to improve, Marcus felt uneasy. The boat was more than just a thing to him. It held memories of quiet mornings and long talks with himself. The thought that others had used it without care hurt deeply. That evening, Marcus sat on the dock, staring at his boat. The sun was setting, casting orange and pink colors across the water. He ran his hand over the boat's surface, feeling its familiar texture. A young boy approached him, holding a small fishing rod. It was Sam, the neighbor's son, who often watched Marcus sail by. "Hi, Marcus," Sam said shyly. "I heard about the party. I'm sorry. My mom said it was too loud." Marcus smiled softly. "Thanks, Sam. It's okay. Sometimes people make mistakes." Sam sat beside Marcus on the dock. "Do you still like the boat?" "I do," Marcus replied. "It's special to me. And I want to make sure it stays that way." For the first time since he returned, Marcus felt a little hope. Maybe, through talks and understanding, his community could come together. Maybe his boat could be more than just a symbol of his dreams. It could become a way to connect with others, to build respect and care. As the stars appeared in the sky, Marcus promised himself he would protect his boat and the peace it gave him. But he also knew he had to be patient and open. Change would not happen overnight. The next day, Marcus started thinking about what he could do next. Could he talk to the HOA again? Could he organize a small gathering of neighbors to share stories about the harbor and the boats? Maybe it was time to build trust, brick by brick. Whatever happened, Marcus was ready to face it. Because this boat was more than wood and paint, it was a part of him. The morning after the meeting, Marcus woke up with a quiet determination. The boat was still tied safely at the dock, but in his mind, the peaceful days he had imagined seemed farther away than ever. He knew that fixing what had happened would take more than words. It would take action. He remembered Sam's visit the evening before, the boy's shy smile, and how hopeful he felt when Sam asked if Marcus still loved his boat. Maybe, Marcus thought, there was a way to bring people together, to turn this situation into something better. Marcus decided to start small. He made a list of neighbors he thought might want to help. Some were longtime residents, others were new to the neighborhood. He wanted to invite them all for a simple get-together by the marina, nothing fancy, just a chance to talk and listen. He called Mrs. Collins first, explaining his idea. "I think it's a wonderful plan, Marcus," she said warmly. "We need to understand each other more. I'll be there." Next, he spoke with Linda, the HOA member who had organized the party. She sounded nervous but agreed to come. "Maybe this can help heal things," Linda said quietly. Over the next few days, Marcus went door to door, inviting people. Some were surprised but said yes. Others were hesitant but promised to think about it. Finally, on a cool Saturday afternoon, the small group gathered near the boats. A few folding chairs were set up on the grass. Marcus brought some cold drinks and simple snacks. The sun was shining, the breeze soft and fresh. Linda was the first to speak. "I want to apologize again for what happened," she said, looking at Marcus. "It was a mistake to use your boat without permission. I see now how important it was to you." Marcus nodded. "Thank you for saying that. I know no one wanted to cause harm. But it's important to respect each other's things." Mrs. Collins smiled. "Maybe this is a chance for us to learn more about each other. We all want a peaceful neighborhood." As people shared their thoughts, the mood began to change. The neighbors talked about their love for the harbor, their memories of summers by the water, and how the boat symbolized more than just a possession. It was a reminder of freedom, family, and hope. Marcus listened carefully. He realized that many people cared deeply but didn't always know how to show it. The noise from the party was upsetting, but it was also a sign that people wanted to come together and celebrate. A young mother named Maria spoke up. "I've only lived here a year, and I want to be part of this community. Maybe we can have a regular event, something peaceful, where everyone can share time on the water safely." Marcus liked the idea. "That sounds great. We can learn about boat safety, respect, and how to enjoy the harbor without causing problems." The group agreed to plan a small, quiet gathering the next month. It would be open to all neighbors and would focus on sharing stories, safety tips, and fun activities for kids. After the meeting, Marcus felt lighter. He knew there were still challenges ahead, but he also saw hope. Back at his boat, Marcus began cleaning the small marks left from the party. As he worked, Linda came by with a small box of supplies. "I thought you might like some new cushions," she said, smiling. "To replace the ones that got damaged." Marcus was surprised but thankful. "Thank you, Linda. That means a lot." The two of them talked for a while, sharing their hopes for the neighborhood. Linda admitted she had been too focused on the party's success and had forgotten to think about how it might affect others. "I'm learning," she said. "And I want to do better." Marcus smiled. "We all make mistakes. What matters is what we do next." That evening, Marcus stood by his boat, watching the sun set over the water. The harbor was quiet again, but now it felt different. It felt like a place where people could come together, even after making mistakes. For the first time since the party, Marcus felt a real connection to his community. He knew the road ahead would not always be easy, but he was ready to walk it, step by step. Because sometimes, healing begins with a simple conversation. And sometimes, it begins with a boat. A few weeks had passed since Marcus and his neighbors had their first meeting by the marina. The idea of a quiet gathering had taken root in the community, and many people were looking forward to it. Marcus felt hopeful as he prepared for the event. He wanted it to be a moment when neighbors could come together, share stories, and build trust again. The morning of the gathering was bright and clear. The sun sparkled on the water, and a soft breeze moved the leaves on the trees. Marcus arrived early at the marina, carrying boxes of snacks, drinks, and a few decorations. He wanted the place to feel warm and welcoming. Slowly, neighbors began to arrive. Families with children, older couples, and some of the new residents came, curious about the event. Linda was there, smiling but a little nervous. Mrs. Collins had brought homemade cookies. Sam came with his fishing rod, excited to try catching fish with Marcus. The atmosphere was calm and friendly. No loud music, no crowds, just people sitting on folding chairs and blankets, enjoying the fresh air and the view of the boats. Marcus stood up to welcome everyone. "Thank you for coming today," he said. "This gathering is about more than just boats or rules. It's about us, our neighborhood, and how we can respect and care for each other. Let's share stories, listen, and learn." One by one, neighbors spoke about their connection to the water. Mrs. Collins told a story about her childhood, when she and her siblings would sail small boats every summer. "The harbor has always been a place of peace for me," she said softly. Maria, the young mother, talked about how she wanted her children to grow up feeling part of a community that cared. "I hope this gathering helps us build that." Sam shyly raised his hand. "I want to learn how to fish and take care of the water." Marcus smiled and promised to teach him. As the afternoon went on, people laughed and talked. Some helped set up a small fishing area for the children. Others shared ideas for future events, like boat safety workshops and cleanup days for the marina. But not everyone was there. A few neighbors chose to stay away, still unsure about the changes happening in the community. Marcus understood that trust takes time. Near the end of the gathering, Linda spoke again. "I want to thank Marcus for starting this. It's helped me see the importance of listening and respecting others. We're planning to review all HOA rules to make sure they are fair and clear." Marcus nodded. "That's a good step. Rules are important, but so is respect. We need both to live together peacefully." As the sun began to set, Marcus felt a deep sense of satisfaction. The gathering had been peaceful, meaningful, and hopeful. The boat, resting quietly at the dock, seemed to shine in the fading light. That evening, Marcus took a walk around the neighborhood. He saw neighbors talking in small groups, waving at each other, and smiling. It felt like a community slowly healing, one step at a time. Back at home, Marcus looked at a photo of his mother on the wall. He thought about the trip he had taken and how important family and connection were. Now, he realized that his neighborhood could become a kind of family too if everyone chose kindness and understanding. Before going to bed, Marcus checked on his boat one last time. The water was calm, the night quiet. He whispered, "We're going to be okay." And in that moment, Marcus believed it was true. The weeks following the quiet gathering were filled with small but meaningful changes. Marcus felt the neighborhood slowly coming together. The HOA began to review their rules, and neighbors started to speak more openly with each other. There was still some tension, but overall, people were trying. One bright Saturday morning, Marcus woke early, eager to take his boat out for a short trip on the harbor. The sea had been calm lately, and the clear sky promised a peaceful day. As he prepared the boat, Marcus thought about how much this boat meant to him. It was his escape, his place of quiet and freedom. But just as he was about to untie the ropes, his phone rang. It was Linda, the HOA member who had been working with him to improve the community. "Marcus, I'm sorry to bother you, but there's something I need to tell you," she said, her voice tense. "There's a problem with the harbor rules. The HOA board is divided. Some members want to return to strict policies, including banning private boats from the marina after certain hours." Marcus's heart sank. "Why? That doesn't make sense. That would affect a lot of people, including families who love the water." "I know," Linda replied. "But some people are worried about noise, safety, and liability. They think strict rules will keep things under control. It's causing a lot of arguments." Marcus felt frustration rising. After all the progress they had made, this felt like a step backward. But he knew he had to stay calm. "Thanks for letting me know, Linda," Marcus said. "I'll think about what to do." The next day, the HOA called a special meeting to discuss the new proposals. Marcus decided to attend. He wanted to speak for the people who loved the harbor and the boat community. At the meeting, the room was full of voices raised in disagreement. Some neighbors wanted the strict rules, while others, like Marcus and Linda, hoped for a more balanced approach. Marcus waited patiently for his turn. When he spoke, his voice was steady but passionate. "This boat means more than just a place on the water," he said. "It's a symbol of freedom, peace, and connection for many of us. Strict rules that stop people from using their boats will hurt our community, not help it." He looked around the room. "I understand the concerns about safety and noise. But we can solve those problems by working together, not by banning. We need clear, fair rules and respect for everyone." Some people nodded. Others looked skeptical. The debate went on for hours. After the meeting, Marcus felt tired but hopeful. He knew change was difficult, and not everyone would agree right away. But he believed that with time and patience, they could find a solution. That evening, a sudden storm swept over the harbor. Dark clouds covered the sky, and the wind began to howl. Marcus watched from his window as rain poured down and the water grew rough. His boat rocked in the waves, tied tightly to the dock. Marcus worried for its safety. The storm lasted through the night. In the morning, the harbor was quiet but messy. Branches and leaves floated on the water. Marcus hurried to the marina to check his boat. To his relief, the boat was safe. The ropes held strong, and the boat only had a few drops of water inside. But Marcus noticed something else. A small group of neighbors were already there, helping clean the docks and clear the debris. Linda was among them, smiling despite the hard work. "Looks like we're going to need to come together more than ever," she said. Marcus joined in, helping to move branches and sweep the docks. As they worked, neighbors who had been quiet before started talking and laughing. The storm, though harsh, had brought people together. Later that day, Marcus sat on his boat, watching the sun come out again. The harbor was calm once more, but now it felt stronger, like it had weathered a test. Marcus thought about the storm inside the HOA meetings and the storm outside. Both had shaken the community, but both could lead to growth. He promised himself to keep fighting for respect, understanding, and peace. Not just for his boat, but for everyone who called the harbor home. Because sometimes, the strongest calm comes after the fiercest storm. The storm had passed, but its effects lingered in the minds of everyone in the neighborhood. The marina was cleaner now, but the questions about how to live peacefully by the water were still not fully answered. Marcus knew there was more work ahead. The boat had survived the storm, just like the community, but they all needed to find a way to grow stronger together. After the cleanup, Marcus felt a new energy inside him. He wanted to do more than just speak at meetings or organize small gatherings. He wanted to build something lasting, a way for neighbors to come together regularly, to share their love for the water and respect for each other. With Linda's help, Marcus proposed the idea of forming a harbor club. It would be a group of neighbors who cared about the marina, the boats, and the community. The club's purpose would be to organize events, teach boat safety, and help keep the harbor clean and peaceful. At first, some HOA members were unsure. They worried the club might challenge their authority or create more problems. But Marcus and Linda explained that the club would work together with the HOA, not against it. They wanted to build trust, not fight. Slowly, people began to join. Old neighbors who remembered the harbor's quiet days, new families eager to make friends, and even some who had once been skeptical. The first official meeting of the Harbor Club was held in the community center. Marcus stood in front of a small crowd, feeling a mixture of excitement and nervousness. "This club is for all of us," he said. "We want to protect what we love: the water, the boats, and the peace. But we also want to enjoy it together. We can make this place better if we work as a team." Linda shared a plan for upcoming events: a boating safety workshop, a family fishing day, and a regular marina cleanup. The neighbors smiled and nodded, feeling hopeful. One by one, people introduced themselves and shared their stories. Maria spoke about teaching her children to love the water safely. Sam, now braver, talked about his dreams of becoming a sailor. Mrs. Collins recalled her childhood adventures and the importance of respecting nature. The sense of community grew stronger that night. It was more than just a club, it was a promise to care for each other and the harbor. As the weeks went by, the Harbor Club held its first fishing day. Marcus taught Sam and several other children how to fish quietly and patiently. The children laughed when they caught small fish, proud of their new skills. Maria brought sandwiches and lemonade, and neighbors shared stories under the warm sun. The boats floated gently on the calm water, and the air was filled with peace and happiness. One afternoon, Marcus received a letter from the HOA president. It was an official agreement recognizing the Harbor Club as a partner in caring for the marina. The letter said the HOA would support the club's activities and work together to keep the neighborhood safe and friendly. Marcus smiled as he read the letter. It was a sign that the hard work was paying off. But the real reward was in the small moments, like watching Sam proudly row a tiny boat, or seeing neighbors wave to each other on the dock. One evening, Marcus stood by his boat, looking at the stars reflected on the water. He thought about the long journey, the party, the Coast Guard, the storm, and all the meetings. He realized that the boat had become much more than just a dream come true. It had become a bridge, a way to connect people, to heal old wounds, and to build something new. Marcus felt thankful for the community, even with its challenges. He understood now that true peace comes not from perfect rules but from kindness, respect, and the willingness to listen. As the gentle waves rocked his boat, Marcus whispered to himself, "This is just the beginning." And deep inside, he knew it was true. Months had passed since Marcus and his neighbors formed the Harbor Club. What had once been a place full of tension and uncertainty was now alive with friendship and respect. The quiet gatherings and shared efforts had built a community where people looked out for one another, and the marina felt like a true home for everyone. Marcus often found himself standing by his boat, watching the sun rise or set over the water. Each time, he felt a sense of peace that was deeper than before. The boat, once a symbol of his personal dream, had become a symbol of hope for the whole neighborhood. One early morning, as the sky turned pink and orange, Marcus spotted a small group of neighbors arriving at the marina. Children with fishing rods, parents carrying picnic baskets, and a few older residents with warm smiles. It was time for the Harbor Club's monthly gathering. Marcus greeted everyone warmly. "Good morning. It's great to see you all again." Linda, now a close friend and partner in the club, handed Marcus a small notebook. "We've been keeping track of ideas and feedback. People really appreciate these gatherings." Maria approached, holding Sam's hand. "Sam has been practicing his fishing skills every day," she said proudly. Sam grinned and held up a small fish he had caught earlier. "Look, Marcus. I did it." Marcus knelt beside Sam and smiled. "You're becoming a great fisherman." The day was filled with laughter, stories, and shared moments. The kids learned more about the water, how to care for the environment, and the importance of safety. Adults talked about plans to plant flowers near the marina and organize more events. As the sun reached its highest point, Marcus noticed an older man standing quietly at the edge of the crowd. The man's face was kind but serious. Marcus recognized him as Mr. Harper, one of the HOA board members who had once opposed the Harbor Club. Marcus walked over and offered a friendly handshake. "Mr. Harper, it's good to see you here." Mr. Harper nodded slowly. "I've been watching from a distance, Marcus. I admit I was wrong to resist the club at first. But seeing what you've built here, it's impressive." Marcus smiled. "Thank you. It took time, but we're all learning." Mr. Harper looked around at the happy faces and the calm water. "This place is different now. There's respect, and people care for each other. That's what matters." The day ended with a peaceful boat ride. Marcus invited a few neighbors aboard his boat, including Sam and Maria. As the boat moved gently across the water, Marcus felt the cool breeze on his face and listened to the soft sounds of the harbor. He thought back to the time when his boat had been used without his permission, the fear and frustration he felt. But now, all those feelings were replaced with hope. The Harbor Club had changed the community, but it had also changed Marcus. He realized that the true value of his boat was not in its wood or sails, but in the way it brought people together. As the boat returned to the dock, Marcus looked around at the smiling faces and the peaceful harbor. "This is just the beginning," he said quietly. The neighbors nodded, knowing that their journey was not over, but feeling confident in the calm waters ahead. And with the sun setting behind them, the marina shone like a place where dreams and respect sailed side by side.